Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst, and you are here for Poppin Off At Pops, our Riverdale after show. We are doing a combo episode again because, life happens. So today we are going to be talking about Chapter 93, Dance of Death, as well as Chapter 94, Next to Normal. So let's do it. And before we get started, let me introduce my cohorts that I have with me every week on this fabulous show. Keiki, introduce yourself.
Oh, me first. Hi, I'm Keiki. You will always find me at Smells Like Teen Angst, or on the social medias at The Life of Keiki. I also play in a D&D campaign with the lovely Jordan. That is the wrong pointer.
There you go.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan. You can find me online at Jordan at Lambertra. I'm getting better at this every week, you guys.
Girl, you're nailing it.
I play in that great D&D campaign with Keiki, and for accountability, I will say that we've been on hiatus and we're coming back the week after Halloween. This is me holding myself accountable to finish writing our campaign.
What is the D&D campaign and where can they find you?
It's called Blackness and Dragons, and you can find us on QueueTimes Twitch channel or on QueueTimes YouTube.
Whoop whoop, QueueTimes. Look at that new thumbnail and everything.
Hey.
So we are going to dive into Chapter 93, Dance of Death. And in pure Riverdale fashion, because we're coming up on the finale, which is next week, and then the show's on hiatus until November, the show has gotten really good, and they're wrapping up all the storylines and showing everyone that, hey, it's not mystical and magical. It's the hills have eyes. So exactly. Just like that you were so close. It makes me
Creepers, where'd you get those peepers?
Just poor Justin.
I honestly thought The Fly when I saw them.
There were a lot of horror references because it was a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre too, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
So my notes, I do have Betty, Jughead, and Tabitha at the top just to kind of get into the Mothman life. So we've got Betty and Tabitha who have been stalking the lonely road highway killer for like 10 days with no luck. And then they start to get these little hints like Squeaky's missing. And she's now enlisted Jughead because we need that Betty and Jughead mystery solving Nancy Drew partnership in order for the day to be saved, apparently. Like Betty can't solve a mystery on her own.
Love that Bughead.
Gotta bring that Bughead back.
Yeah. Like you have to. And the kid that went missing, which I kind of love that they brought this back. The Jughead student that went missing and then was released was the key to this whole thing. And I'm just like, and Jughead's like, yeah, I wasn't able to talk to him because I was his teacher, but now I'm not his teacher. I'm like, why did we not think of this before? Why have we gone 17 episodes? Like, why?
It's also really strange because I feel like Riverdale never takes its time with said things, Like they wouldn't let something as little as a political line like teacher-student stop them from doing something. But I was like, okay, whatever you need to wrap it up. I got you.
I'm just excited to see them pick up the dangling chads because Riverdale usually is very bad about that. But like bringing back Squeaky because episode 1, like normally in a Riverdale, we would not hear about her again. Same thing with like Little Lerman. He was episode like 3 or 4. And normally that'd just be a thing that disappeared. So I was actually kind of happy things back.
Yeah.
Was the Mothman going to get you?
Oh, the Mothman's always coming for Jordan.
Mothman's always
and then we did get, because like there's still the mystery of where's Polly. Because remember, like Betty kidnapped one of the guys from the lonely highway, and he bit his tongue out in secrets, and he talked about Polly. And our creepy mortician finds a body that has been dismembered. And I'm like, oh God. Everyone thinks it's Polly. And it's Squeaky. So we've, like you said, Jordan, we've now brought her back full circle, wrapped up where this poor girl disappeared to in order to then put all these puzzle pieces together. And I do love how this kind of wrapped up in this weird Scooby-Doo, because in Scooby-Doo, the first person they talk to, it is always the villain. And who was the first person they spoke to when talking about the Mothman? It was the man.
Old Man Jenkins.
Old Man Jenkins. And I just love that the Blossoms are always involved in the chaos and the mess of Riverdale.
I'm living for it because we thought all the Blossoms were dead. They had all taken themselves out. Cheryl helped with that a little bit. Her mama did. So learning that there's possibly like 13 to 30 other Blossoms, half Blossoms hanging out in this world, it's like, it ain't over yet.
It'll never be over.
It'll never be over.
It's like Jason Voorhees. He never dies. Mike Myers never dies. It's always someone, and it's always a Blossom. So you have all these illegitimate children living in the woods, and now off of the lonely highway.
I also just love creepy Nana Blossom, and so it gave me life to have a whole scene of creepy Nana Blossom being able to talk about her shenanigans
and her dead
with her
eye.
cataract eye and her cousin Timothy.
And like talking about her philandering husband and how she knew he slept with every woman who walked in our home, from the maids to the cousins.
Hold on, I wrote it down because she said that he would make the beast with two backs with anyone or something ridiculous. I was like, girl.
Grandpa
beast
Blossom
with two backs.
Grandpa Blossom got around. He just spread his seed all over town. So it's like,
I prefer to call it maple syrup.
Grandpa Blossom his maple syrup. And it's just like the way this what did you guys think about the way the Mothman story wrapped up? You've got them living in the junkyard in their bug Mothman outfits, attacking everybody, and it just turns out, and it turns out to be some illegitimate monster Blossom family members, cousins.
I mean, I don't love it when it was supernatural. When Riverdale goes supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
So to have this storyline wrapped up with being something that was rooted in reality, I appreciated, because we've talked about this, like their supernatural, like horror storylines are not always great. And so I appreciate that it was something that was in reality. And I appreciated that they did do all these nods to like Texas Chainsaw and Jeepers Creepers and Hills Have Eyes and all these other things. That being said, I feel like this was the worst raid ever. Like Tony and Fangs were in a gang, so they should know better. And like Betty was an FBI agent, so she should know better. And they just went in there like Danny DeVito and It's Always Sunny. I start blasting.
Trash man. They just throw trash everywhere.
Fangs in a bear trap? Like,
oh my gosh, poor Fangs' ankle in this bear trap. I was like, he's lost his leg forever. But as we learned in the next episode, he's fine. What was I going to say?
Okay,
and I do appreciate that we learned who the Mothman body was. It was just cousin Timothy, who had a bunch of was just deformed. Just had a lot of issues.
Yeah, and we stuck him in maple syrup. Okay. What I do appreciate about this, that I have to say, is that it's not the Gargoyle King, and it did not take frickin' 3 seasons to wrap up. I appreciate it, whatever. But am I the only one who feels like the buildup was kind of squandered to give it all to us in this one episode?
I'm going to fight you on that, just because this was at least a satisfying, believable ending. Are you forgetting about Jellybean being the Artur? Did you forget that happened last season?
No. I'm not saying I'm forgetting about it. I'm just saying that, they Scooby-Doo rushed it, and I was like, I wanted some hunting. I wanted to see some Bughead putting it together longer.
I hear what you're saying.
Black girl.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
I hear what you're saying. And it comes from the problem that we've talked about before, that Riverdale is better as a 13-episode show. If you were to take out all the filler in the middle and just have that front half of the season and the back half of the season, it is a great show. But that 8 episodes in the middle makes it feel like garbage, and then it makes it feel like the reveal at the end is rushed, even though they don't ever go back to everything they've built up before it.
But then we wouldn't have gotten a musical episode, Sarah.
We will get there.
Or a backdoor pilot.
Okay, sorry.
It's fine. I'm just like, we will get. I'm trying to avoid it as long as possible. Let's talk. Can we now talk about? We got to get into Veronica and Archie and all of this because this is hilarious. Like honestly, Archie, no one is worth being murdered over. First of all, so you've got like Archie. How do I even start this? So like Chad is upset because, Veronica was like, Archie's all I need at the beginning of this when they're getting divorced, right? She's like, I don't want anything. Archie's all I need. And I'm like, Veronica, are you trying to get Archie murdered? And that's exactly what she's trying to have happen. And then Chad doesn't even know how to shoot a gun that he gets from Hiram because Hiram apparently holds on to like secret guns, like the ones that are rubbed off of. And Archie just like Captain America's him with a trash can lid, which is possibly my favorite part of the whole episode.
It was amazing. It was pretty funny.
It's like, use it as a shield. Fling it at him.
Wait, I can't say that because Hiram was again called a little bitch in this episode. And that is always my favorite moment of the episode.
Like multiple times. She said it to him multiple times. And it's so good. I do think that we got this really lovely scene between Veronica and Hiram where we learn why Veronica is always trying to live up to her father and always trying to be him or impress him, which I think until now I kind of always chalked up to just like a child trying to get approval. And we kind of now get why, because Hiram said out loud within earshot of her that she wasn't worth anything and that she'd never be anything. And she basically was like, well, I'm going to show you something.
And it's not just that he said that. He said that on the day of her quinceañera, like an important milestone day. It's one thing if he just said that on like a Wednesday. No, this is like the most important day of her life this far. And he's like, she ain't worth shit.
Yeah.
Of course that would make the girl crazy.
Yeah.
So like I enjoyed that scene. I love how she kidnapped him because Archie's still working in the mines for Cheryl with his 12 jobs. And then Hiram's like, all I can do, because Chad can't murder him. Don't ever send a boy for a man's job. And then blows up the mine? Like Hiram, that's next level, bro.
I know.
Like he's a villain and now he's a murderer. Like that's.
I mean, but nobody died. But
no,
yes.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes. The whole idea is very
Hiram's
murderous.
been a murderer though.
Yeah, he's always been a murderer. Look, we know now that Hiram is just like some point blank gangster who built himself from his rags to riches. He's not an educated man. He doesn't use his big brain when he thinks.
Yeah,
he thinks with his little bitch energy. So
he's a little crazy.
Like it's all on brand for him. And I'm excited to see what type of mess he's going to get everyone into.
Hiram is very much Ray Liotta from Goodfellas, right? Like,
right.
No class, didn't grow up in the mob, doesn't know what he's doing, and he just has his gun and I start blasting.
Can we talk about this scene that happens because Chad apparently has decided if he can't have Veronica, no one can have Veronica, and he rolls up to her apartment with a gun to murder her. And she then turns on the Flight of the Valkyries, turns off all the lights, and fights him. That
was my favorite scene with Veronica this week. Like, my favorite scene was Veronica by far.
Mm-hmm.
That
was a great time. An absolute great time.
Well,
and also, Chad is potentially out of our life forever. I mean, we know he's not dead, but
I know.
Again, is he really going to come back after her? After getting his ass whipped like that? Probably not.
I don't know.
Is he not dead? I thought he was dead.
I know. I thought he was dead too. He's like, no, he was in the hospital.
No,
I was like,
there was a comment about him being in the hospital because her dad's like, in Chad, and she's like, he's in the hospital, daddy. I'm pretty sure that's how it went, right?
Daddy. In happy news, though, Tony is finally officially back on the show, which I think is so exciting. She has been gone. She had her baby. Welcome back, girl. And she is taking on, I think, a pretty big storyline where there's a little girl named Britta, like the water filter, who is gay and tries to come out to her family, and they don't accept her and they kick her out of the house. And so Tony is taking on, because she is a social worker and she's the counselor for the school, but I think she's taking on a little bit more than what that job entails. And I really like this storyline for her. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I love this storyline. I think it's very skillful. I think it's really relevant. And I think that it really plays on Tony's strengths. You know, Tony's a super emotional character. She had this huge coming out arc. And I think it's a really good way to denote the 7-year jump where you see Tony is now helping a character through something that she's been through in previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
What Jordan said, but I also love that it's a great bridge to her and Cheryl. And I was wondering how we'd full circle get back there. And, you know, it's Tony and her heart, as always, and Tony willing to make the sacrifice to help other people. So it's on brand for her. I'm glad to see her back. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping for some more Tony, Cheryl togetherness.
We'll see what happens. And Cheryl, speaking of, is now, she fasted and she's realized the earth, air, wind, fire, water, Gaia is her goddess. And is she a witch? Because when they were trying to get everyone out.
Cheryl went full on witch.
Yeah. So I'm like, is that where we're going? Is that what we're going to do? Is she a witch?
I feel like Riverdale will never give us like full supernatural satisfaction. So I feel like every time Cheryl's like, let me think on it, I'm going to fast, she's really just like, let me read up on it and see what I can put together and make happen.
So you're saying you don't think she was fasting? You think she fake fasted? She fake fainted? And
that or brain tumor, girl. Like, I cannot. It has to be something real. It's Riverdale. Okay.
That's fair. That's fair. You're not wrong. And then now you've got Kevin at the end of the episode having a crisis of faith because Penelope is getting to him, which doesn't actually play it all into the next episode. So I was like, what was the point of this? I don't know.
I do have 2 final notes from this episode.
Go for it.
First of all, the Chime sponsorship was out of control.
Chimed?
Yeah, in my face. Yeah, Chime. You didn't notice that? When at the beginning of the episode, Archie is telling Cheryl about how they need more money and that his men need to be paid to be able to go down in the mines. And she's like, I'll go on Chime right now and send you a little bit of my gratitude. And I'm like, really name dropping? Okay.
Is that a real thing? I actually didn't know that was a real thing.
Yeah, no, Chime's a real app. Chime is a real money sending. So that was sponsorship. Very obvious.
I assumed that it was one of those isms that we like so much.
No. My other thing is a Riverdale ism that we love so much. Did you notice that their Alexa is called Pepe?
Yeah, Pippi. I was like, Pippi Longstocking. I loved it. I thought that was funny. I had that in my notes too, but I skipped over it. Pippi instead of Alexa. Because who doesn't love a Riverdale ism?
I have more written down for the next episode.
Don't worry. Oh, we do too. Don't worry. Let's get ready for Next to Normal.
All right.
Faces. As everyone knows, we here at Poppin Off At Pops absolutely love Riverdale's musical episodes.
Anyone who is listening to this as a podcast format is not getting the full effect of what is happening right now. Just go look up this part on the VOD, please.
It's our favorite.
I thought we weren't going to have a musical episode because we've had so many musical numbers up to this point. So I was like, why have one at all? And then I learned that we were getting one. And then I learned it was Next to Normal, which if you've never seen this musical, it is heartbreaking and beautiful as a show. And the way Betty explained it is oddly incorrect. I don't know if anyone else caught that. It's a family that is going through grief, and the mother is also bipolar and schizophrenic. And so when her son dies, she goes manic and starts having delusions that her son is still alive. And that is the only thing that she cares about, which I think they portrayed well with Alice showing Charles and Polly. And it's just kind of how that affects the rest of her family. It affects her marriage. It affects her daughter. So all of Next to Normal, this episode was very much about Alice's grief and her processing that grief, and Betty trying to help her mother process that grief while also dealing with it herself, with a couple of sprinkles like of other characters thrown in with weird numbers. Overall, even though it's a musical episode, which we know we don't love, what did you think of the story of this episode? Musical numbers aside.
Story-wise, I do see them winding the season down and wrapping a lot of things up. And so, I can appreciate that. Clearly there's going to be a lot of fallout from Polly's death, and there's going to be a lot that happens. And I do think them handling the mourning of Polly, and how that affects Betty and Alice and their family and then their larger community at hand was handled skillfully. Musical numbers aside, it was very much a portrait of a woman in mourning, and I appreciate that Betty did her best to soothe that, and bringing home Polly's ashes and planning a memorial and having the twins there. That was really nice. And I think there's a lot of other things that got wrapped up. Archie and Veronica, that part got on my nerves because, this whole will they, won't they thing, knock it off. I love what happened with Tabitha and Jughead. I liked what happened with Tony and Britta and Cheryl. Overall, story-wise, what happened was not terrible. I just didn't need all that damn singing.
Yeah. I
wholeheartedly concur with you, Jordan. I actually really like the show Next to Normal. I didn't need it being told this way, especially because they gave one of my favorite numbers to Veronica, and it changed the meaning of it. And I was like, okay, what is she trying to say from this song? Because now it's taken out of context. And I was just a little taken aback by that, but I love introducing Tabitha's parents. Her dad looks like he gonna be up to something. I loved, finally closing the chapter on Polly's death and moving through the grief fast enough to kind of allow Betty's mother to be someone different at the end of this season. I'd really love to see her to hop back in with, being a part of these kids' life, even though their parents aren't really present and around anymore.
Yeah, Alice has had a really rough 7 years. And I'm very sad for her because she left off right before the time jump that FP left with Jelly Bean, but she was still in a really strong place. And whatever she's gone through over this last 7 years has wrecked her. And Alice has been one of my favorite characters, especially when you learn that she was a serpent, when you learn she was banging FP, all this before she did the flip into good girl Alice. And I agree with you, Keiki. I really need Alice to her character to take a step forward and let her have what happened to her still be a part of her, but not be all of her.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm ready to have a place for Alice in this show again, especially not having FP around. This absence of parents in Riverdale is weird because if you grow up and move back to the home you're in, the city you're in, you would still kind of kick it with your parents.
Yeah.
Right?
But FP left. He moved. He was the only other parent we're missing, if you think about it, because Archie's father
passed away.
And he has his uncle. And then Jughead's dad, FP, like I said, moved away. And then you have Betty's, and Hiram's still there. So parents are all still there. They're just not as widely involved.
but they're not widely involved. Like, we were giving a storyline to Cheryl's mom. I can't remember her name right now.
Penelope.
And then like Penelope. We were giving a story to Penelope, and then Cheryl took that story from her right quick in a hurry. And I feel like, you know, Penelope did her jail time. Penelope did what Cheryl asked of her. Like, it's kind of Penelope's turn to like step up again like she used to be. You know?
Can she please reopen her brothel?
Something.
Right? I think that would be amazing.
I need Penelope to get back on her bullshit and just run with it.
Yeah. I do have to say that my favorite number in this episode that I didn't hate, because it was probably the only one I really didn't hate, was really most of the ones with Alice and Betty. But it was the mashup combo of I'm Alive and I'm the One. And I thought that was done really well, and it kept the meaning of the song and kept it very strong. As you mentioned, Keiki, they gave my personal favorite song of the entire show, Superboy and the Invisible Girl, to Veronica, and made it about Archie, which I think is garbage. Like, I feel like if they were going to do Next to Normal as the episode, it should have just been about Betty and Alice and that family. Mm-hmm. There was really no need to have the others sing songs. And I feel like it really took away from everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were kind of counting on people not being familiar with the actual musical, because even the choice of like having Perfect be with Jughead and Tabitha, if you know the musical, is kind of weird. Like, it worked, but it didn't.
Yeah, they gave them the daughter and the boyfriend songs, and I was just kind of like, okay, you have damage, like, I have damage. Like,
repositioning a musical for different storylines.
Yeah.
And it was annoying because we've seen the musical before.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the storylines in general. Now that we've kind of got the music out of the way, you've got Veronica and Archie are kaputs, which we saw this coming a mile away. Veronica asks Archie to move in, and Archie's like, wow, I thought it'd be weird that you wouldn't want to have roommates. And she's like, well, I thought you'd move in here. And he's like, well, I'm not leaving my house for this apartment, you know, like, even though it's probably a really nice apartment. And she says yes to moving in. And I was honestly shocked. And then they have this conversation. She's like, we need to have this checking in conversation, which I'm all for. But what was she ever expecting from Archie? Archie is Riverdale. Archie will never leave Riverdale. He is that guy that you always come back to your hometown that never left and never will leave because he loves it. And it's not because he's stuck. It's actually a choice. And Veronica is bigger than Riverdale. And it kind of, the way they did this storyline to me, almost feels like they're writing her off.
It really bothered me. It bothered me because it was so stupid. Archie and Veronica have had this conversation 9 million times over the course of this show. And to say that, like, Veronica would never move into Archie's boring-ass, suburban-ass house with his 19 roommates. She's not going to be cooking chicken cordon bleu in this little suburban-ass bungalow, craftsman, whatever style Archie's house is. Like, that just wouldn't happen. It's not true to her character. And then for them to break up again after your dad has tried to kill him multiple times. He exploded a mine on him. Your ex-husband tried to shoot him and he went full on Captain America. Like, all of this garbage happened and y'all still can't figure out how to make it work. This is so incredibly boring. And at this point, I don't even know that I love Veronica and Reggie as a pairing, but it makes more sense.
It does.
Way more sense. She's helping him study to become like a Wall Street broker. And he's like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to Wall Street. I'm moving to New York. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for her. And I feel like they have, and this is me storytelling because the writers haven't done this or even explained this, that I feel like Veronica was miserable in her marriage for a million reasons. And she came home for this reunion and saw Archie and had this spark of, oh, I remember when I was younger and this was fun and we had such great love. But this whole thing was just a catalyst for her to get the courage and have someone be there for her while she left her husband. It wasn't actually because she loves Archie. It is more a means to an end because she knows who Archie is. We know who she is. And she always knew that that would never work out.
Mm-hmm.
But he was comfortable and there for her. And that's what she needed at the time. And it's not actually what she needs now.
Yeah, I feel like learning about Veronica being with Chad and their whole situation and who she was before she came back to Riverdale, Veronica's always been someone who was trying to grow into that space of bad bitch, woman, leadership, boss bitch role. And she just always needed like a little peon next to her to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's gotten to a point where she's like, I don't want this peon. I want this one. But really, girl, really, you don't want any of them. Like, you want an equal. Let's be real. And I also did not like that the song was Superboy and the Invisible Girl, because Veronica could never be invisible, okay? Okay. And also, how is Archie a Superboy? He's just a guy with like 19 part-time jobs. Like,
yeah.
Girl, are you really like putting him on a pedestal like that? That's ridiculous. And he's clearly still a child, because he's like, let's just go back to being kids about this.
And having fun and just dating and having a good time. Archie's not ready to settle down anytime soon. Yeah.
And she has learned for herself, like, okay, yeah, that's not what I want. So bye.
Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the Mothman. I knew she was frozen. I was like, she's still frozen. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you decide that the person that you're with isn't right for you anymore, then that's just what happens, Mothman.
Mm-hmm. The Mothman is busy tonight, y'all. He busy.
Yeah. It took 7 years and a quick divorce in relationship to realize that they grew apart and they aren't endgame. Sorry, Archie people. But they just aren't. That doesn't mean that Betty and Archie, like Archie, are endgame either. But I don't know. Veronica would basically have to change everything about who she is, and Archie would have to change everything about who he is in order for them to work out. And neither one of them are going to do that, because it makes no sense. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Let's talk about Tabitha and Jughead, which, Jordan, I know you said you really like it, but personally, I feel like they have zero chemistry.
So I think that if you look at both the actors' little faces, they're cute together. Like, they would be a cute little couple if you look at their little faces. And I think that it should work. I think that Riverdale sometimes is so top level in its writing that you end up filling things in your head. You write your own little fan fictions and your own little moments. So if you say that like it's not supported by text, I'll give you that, because it probably isn't supported by text. This is just me being a crazy shipper, and I'm like, no, I think they're cute together and it should happen. Now, Kith. And I appreciate that they've been there for each other during difficult moments. I don't know that I love Tabitha's dad being like Hiram Lodge Part 2.
Right? I'm like, are they going to like team up and become like the ultimate
like the ultimate bad dads?
The ultimate bad dads?
And their game could be called Bad Dads? I don't know.
Hashtag bad dads.
Right? They need to have jackets, just like the serpents. They need to have jackets that say Bad Dads on the back.
Yeah, but like BD, like
BD energy. Bad dad energy. So, that's what that means.
I still have questions. And like I said, I think I said this earlier. I didn't necessarily love them using Perfect for this couple, and I just feel like that was just a directional choice. They decided that they were gonna use New Normal as the musical this year, and they were going to just take all the songs and make them fit the story that they wanted to tell. Yeah. And I don't know if that song fit a story between Tabitha and Jughead and a moment between the two of them. And also, Jughead's supposed to be in recovery, so I don't know that I love him jumping into a new relationship.
You're supposed to wait a year, Jughead.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Supposed to wait.
And that being said, even with all that, I still ship it. Now, Kith.
I ship it, and I do think it's supported by the text and the episodes, but I think the actors have no chemistry. Like I feel like it feels like they're not even friends.
Looks like they hate each other. They
When
hate
they
each
kiss, it's terrible.
As
They
someone
hate
who
each
really
other.
enjoys the show and who really enjoys Cole Sprouse, I feel like he's a little checked out, y'all.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree. He's done.
I think he's a little checked out. I think they could pair him with Megan Fox and it wouldn't read right because I just think he's not there.
You think he's still a little heartbroken over his like breakup with Lily and how he has to work with her every day and like I don't know.
I think he's making beer or cider or whatever he's doing and doing his little photography, and he's just so hip and he's cooler than Riverdale.
Yeah, I hear you.
It just happens to actors sometimes.
It does, absolutely. So I'm curious to see where they go. I feel like they're writing Veronica off. Maybe they'll write Jughead off, and then the whole show rests on Lily Reinhart's shoulders anyway. So it'll just be like Archie and Betty. Diving into Tony, Fangs convinces her to go to Cheryl and ask Cheryl to help with Britta and have this little girl kind of be Cheryl's ward. And I love that. And I also love the scene where Cheryl exorcises her mom because they had to put Cheryl in here somehow. Right. And that was the moment.
There was a moment where I was like, Cheryl should not have a ward. But I was like, no, wait, let me think about this.
Yeah, I think it's good for her. Kiki, what do you think?
I think that Cheryl is a good caretaker and a very loving person. So maybe having, a ward will bring her back to her, HBIC and not her queen bee craziness. So I'm hoping for the best. I am hoping Britta blossoms into a blossom.
Hey, I like it.
That's what you did there.
What do you guys think of the Tony Fangs love confession?
I saw it coming. I don't know that I adore it, but I definitely saw it coming.
Yeah. So
I saw it coming because they were very heavy-handed with it these 2 episodes. So it didn't take me by surprise when it happened. Because they were setting it up, right? So they were setting it up. I will say that I think it's a little kooky because I kind of always saw Tony and Fangs as like more of a brother-sister sibling relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, while it's possible for you to have had that best friend that's always been there and realize like, oh my God, this is the person that I should be with. I don't know if I buy it in this instance.
Yeah, it almost feels like convenience versus actual. I don't think they don't love each other. I think they absolutely do love each other. But I think it's a relationship of convenience, which does happen more often than people care to admit. It's that whole thing of they were always around. Not that they necessarily wanted to end up with that person.
Right.
Which also happens. Check that out on TikTok. It's devastating. So this episode kind of ends like the last 2 episodes. We've wrapped up Mothman, we've wrapped up Polly. Like, what's really left? Veronica's divorced. Is she moving to New York? Like, you know what I mean? The next episode is the finale, and it's called Riverdale R.I.P. ? Which we know it's not because it has a whole nother season starting in November, which is a strange title for the episode.
Yeah.
But, like, where do we go from here?
I think we introduce Tabitha's daddy-o, and, we get our BDE team up, and they're going to buy Riverdale, and they're going to try to turn it into Hiram's little village of madness and take down Pops. And then all of a sudden, the gang's going to come back together and take Riverdale back. Because here's the thing. We've, this whole season, introduced everyone back that's been gone for 7 years, apparently. We've established roles that they're taking on. But the one thing we're missing is that they really don't have this whole friendship thing going that they did when they were in school. It's all very much side story here, side story here, side story here. And I think coming together, like it was supposed to be in the beginning, to take back Riverdale is what's going to give us that vibe that we've been missing. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
And that's we're setting it up. We're setting it up. We're going full circle back to episode 1. Save Riverdale.
I do miss I do wish we would have gotten the scene of Jughead at dinner with Tabitha's father. And we were
Me
gypped.
too. Do you guys think that Tabitha's father is going to play a larger role later? Because I don't know how I feel about that.
I think he will, because otherwise, why introduce her parents?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because
It
you know
doesn't make
Riverdale be doing stuff like that. You're always doing dumb stuff like that.
It's true. But I feel like it's a way to introduce, like, because is Mark Consuelo sticking around? What are they even doing with Hiram now that she stole all the palladium and she doesn't have the, like his whole thing is squashed. So he needs help from someone else. And if that person is Tabitha's dad, which we now know is a man in power, we knew she came from money. But her father was from Riverdale, just like Hiram. He's Hiram 2.0. Maybe he's a bigger bad. I don't know.
Hashtag bad dads.
Bad dad energy.
Bad dad energy. They got that BDE, that bad dad energy. It's going to be a tweet, guys. We're going to go viral. Well, that's all I have. That's all I've got on my notes. Ladies, is there anything else that we may have missed for you?
Nah.
Next week is it. That's it. We missed on my notes all of our great Riverdale isms. We had.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We had Swellegrino instead of Pellegrino. We had Glamazon instead of Amazon.
So good. They were so good. I loved Glamazon. I was like, that's amazing. Swellegrino. I was like, yes.
Right. The second that she goes like off of Glamazon, I had to like pause my video and just laugh and then get back into it.
I know.
I replayed Swellegrino. I was like, did he say take a Swellegrino on your way out?
He sure did. I loved it. Well, ladies, next week we'll be back for the finale of Riverdale. And then it's on hiatus until season 6 jumps back in on November 16th. So we got like 4 weeks without Riverdale. So everyone, make sure you catch up. Get ready. Thank you for watching. And let's sign out. Kiki, say goodbye.
Bye, y'all. You know I'm always here. It's Kiki.
Hey, Jordan, say goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
That's it. Good night. Go to bed. I don't care what time you're watching this. Go to bed.
Go to bed. It's time.
Go to bed.
Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, thumbs up this video, comment, let us know what you thought of these last 2 episodes of Riverdale, and ring that bell. Don't miss out on any more angsty television.
You woke up and watched this first thing in the morning? Go to bed.
Go to bed.